Horizon Zero Dawn is out now for PC. Here are my 25-ish tips for surviving the wilds with Aloy. PC tips. The game controls for Horizon Zero Dawn on PC are fantastic. Typically with console ports, you usually find that the button mappings are pretty poor and you'll be pressing every button on your keyboard that you can possibly find, but it's well implemented here, it's well constructed. I actually found that using keyboard and mouse wasn't too much of an issue. I was fully expecting to be plugging in my controller here, but the game plays very well with keyboard and mouse, and the extra precision you get from the mouse is fantastic. The next tip is to turn on dynamic HUD so that you have a bit more screen space for you to enjoy this world around you. There is a lot of HUD elements in this game and it's better to keep them off unless you need them. The next is to increase your FOV to 100. This may seem like a personal preference in a lot of other PC games, but here it's very important as there will often be machines jumping at you from left and right in directions that you can't actually see. Increasing the FOV here allows you to see more of what's happening around you, and it also makes the world look even better. The next isn't really a tip, it's more of an awareness thing. I had to turn on VSync to get rid of some massive screen tearing that I had with the game. I typically play most games with VSync off as I have a G-Sync monitor, but it seemed to fix the issue if I had it turned on for some reason. Digital Foundry have also done a great breakdown of the settings and performance that you should use for this port. If you're interested, I will have a link to that in the description down below. Exploration tips. Healing plants are always red. It's very important that you know what they look like. They will often have different looks, but they will always have a red colored flower or bloom at the top. It is very important that you know where these are, as there is no natural health regen in this game, and this is the major way that you get your health regenerated. Returning to Ross' house during the story is also important if you would like a little bit of extra story about Aloy. I don't want to spoil much about the story, but you should definitely go back to Ross' house periodically throughout your main story to learn more about Aloy's feelings and what's happening around her. Always go to campfires and save. It is also valuable to use these points as fast travel locations, even if you don't know that you're going to come back here later. If you are near a campfire, definitely go there, have a quick save, and then keep moving on. You should also hunt down tallnecks. This will not only remove the map fog of war, it will also add icons to your map with various locations that you can go and explore. You should be checking your focus often if you are looking for things around you. It will highlight enemies, machines, wildlife, collectibles, and little nuggets of lore, so things like audio logs, etc. that you might find out in the world. You should always check every vendor you come across, as they always have different gear, but there is also a few things that you need to look out for. You can buy collectible maps from vendors, which will add icons on your map to find certain collectibles. Every vendor you come across will also have a free sample box that you can get for the first time when you find them. Go there, go to the treasure boxes, grab that sample box for free. It just gives you some materials to take away on your journey. And you should also sell anything that is just marked as selling for metal shards, because they are only good for profit. They don't have any other uses. The last thing you should look for merchants is the unlimited fast travel tool. If you are going to fast travel, it does require a fast travel pack, but there is an unlimited version of this that you can get from certain vendors for a small fee. The last exploration tip is to check every cauldron that you come across. The first one, you will get a marker and a quest item to go through, but after that, you should definitely go and explore the other cauldrons. They're these fantastic dungeon-like stories, but if you do explore them, you will be able to override more machines than you could before, more variants of those machines. They are definitely worth doing. After the first one, they will be marked on your map, but you won't have a quest marker to go to them. So I would strongly recommend that you hunt these out for yourself when you come across these locations. Combat tips. When facing new machines, you should definitely study them first to find their weak points. You must know the weak points for all of the machines that you come across, as this is the best way to deal with combat. Once you know what parts of the machine to shoot, you should be preparing for the fight ahead, using the tripcaster that you get early on, or the other variants that you can get later on. You should use this to set up the fight. Make sure that you've got traps set up so that you can lead the machines a specific way. It's also worth picking up the rope caster as early as you can, as this is a fantastic item for combat, as you can anchor enemies down to a specific location. If you have multiple machines coming at you, it's useful to be able to trap one in a specific location so you can deal with its friends. You may notice that when you use some of these traps or the rope caster, there will be a status meter above the machine that you are fighting. This is an element status meter, and if you fill it with its specific element, you will do additional benefits to that machine. For example, freeze stalls enemies and allows you to do increased damage. Tear allows you to break machine parts off faster than you could with your normal arrows. Fire deals damage over time. Shock causes temporarily temporarily paralysis, immobilizing the target and allowing you to deal some critical hits. And corruption causes the target to become hostile to all units, including its own allies. This is useful to use out of stealth to create some chaos with the machines around you before you engage them. The last combat tip is to use potions to protect yourself from certain elements when fighting machines that give off those elements. You can use something like a fire potion to give you yourself resistance to fire when fighting a machine that spits fire at you, and same for freeze, etc. Upgrading Aloy. Once you start leveling up, you'll notice there are a lot of skills that you can acquire. The couple that I would recommend, especially for the very early game to aim for, is Silent Strike, which is a base level perk that you can get, which allows you to instant kill small machines out of stealth. And the next would be Double Shot, which is a little bit further down the tree, but what it allows you to do is knock an extra arrow in combat, so you can shoot 2 arrows at once. There is also a Triple Shot, which is a little bit harder to get to as it does require 3 skill points, but these are skills that you should definitely aim for early on. There is also things that you can look at like Tinker, which is a much later perk that you can get, which allows you to use modifications a second time. There is plenty of skills here that you can play around with, and these are the main ones that I would highly recommend to get as early as possible. Speaking of modifying your gear, there is multiple things you can do to your armor and to your weapons. The one thing that isn't really clear is what handling does. What handling actually does is it increases your rate of fire and your reload time for your arrows. The higher the handling, the faster the weapon will fire. As you explore, you will come across hunter trials that you can partake in. These are well worth doing. It may not seem like they are, but it's well worth completing these and getting their maximum rewards. Not only do you get a little treasure box, but once you complete all of these, or at least most of them in the particular categories, you will be able to get some of the best weapons in the game once you reach the Hunter's Lodge, so it's well worth doing these as you come across them. It's also worth testing your skills and seeing how good of a hunter you are. The next tip is to upgrade your resource capacity as soon as possible. Under the crafting menu, there are options to increase your capacity for not only resources, but for weapons, armor, etc. You should be looking at here and increasing these as soon as possible, especially the resources and carry capacity so that you can carry more resources to craft more gear, and the carry capacity so that you can carry more gear as you craft it, like arrows and other weapon devices, etc. Now, if you're looking for faster ways to level up, there is a couple of things that you can do. There are these things called weapon quests. Every time you get a new weapon, you will get a quest for that weapon, which will be kind of like a tutorial teaching you how to use it, but you can do these to get a fair chunk of XP, and they're usually very easy to complete. The next would be to campfire farm, similar to, say, a Dark Souls or a Bloodborne, those style of games where you would rest at a bonfire and it would reset enemies. You can do a similar thing in Horizon Zero Dawn, where you can save at a campfire and then reload that save, and the enemies and machines will respawn around you. This is useful not only for the XP, but if you need a specific item from that machine, you can do this on a cycle and just keep rolling it out until you get the item that you need. The last tip for upgrading Aloy is that you can upgrade the spear that Aloy has. There is a side quest early on which will upgrade your spear's damage. There are also ways you can do it in your skills with the critical hit bonuses, and as you progress through the game, you will get other ways to increase your spear, like the cauldrons, and there is also something that will happen later down the line in the main story, which I won't spoil, which will upgrade your spear as well. There isn't much to do here other than do this early main quest and then get the skills. Otherwise, most of your spear upgrades will come naturally as you play. The main things you should be focusing on is upgrading your other weapons and the armor that you're wearing, using modifications and looking for vendors to find better gear, better armor as you progress. If you have any other tips, thoughts, statements, whatever it may be, throw them down in the comments below so that we can all help each other. Please follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and on Twitch, where I stream 3 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday Australian night times. Hope to see you there in the next stream. Thank you for watching this video. My name is NorZZa, and I hope you have a great day.